I was uninvited to my half-sister's wedding for bringing bad luck, but she paid the price right after. I'm 24, and I'm the product of my father's affair. It's not exactly the kind of introduction anyone wants to make, but in my family, it's the lens through which everything is viewed. I barely remember my mom. I was only 4 when she died in a car crash. There wasn't exactly a line of relatives waiting to take me in either. See, her family had cut all ties when she got pregnant with me. Can't really blame them. She was the other woman who had an affair with a married man, my dad, who already had a wife and daughter. So when she died, my only option was moving in with my dad. I sometimes wonder if things would have been different if my mom had lived, but those thoughts only lead to more pain. Instead, I found myself thrust into a household where I was treated like an unwanted houseguest rather than a family member. "You're a constant reminder of your father's mistakes," Ashley would say, shaking her head like I was some kind of disappointment she was stuck dealing with. It wasn't just the occasional snide comment either. She had a way of working my questionable origins into almost every conversation. One memory really sticks with me. I was 8, and all I wanted was to go swimming with my half-sister Rebecca and her friends. Instead of just saying no, Ashley looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Why don't you just stay home and give everyone a break?" I can still see Rebecca's smug little face as they walked out the door, leaving me behind. I spent that whole afternoon crying in my room. And honestly, that pretty much sums up my childhood. The inequality was stark and deliberate. Every holiday, every celebration became an exercise in humiliation. One Christmas stands out particularly clearly in my memory. Rebecca, my half-sister, received a brand new laptop for college. "It's exactly what you needed, sweetheart," Ashley cooed as Rebecca unwrapped it. Then she handed me my gift. A scarf with someone else's initials embroidered on it. "Oh," I remember saying, trying to keep my voice steady. "Thank you. At least you got something," Ashley replied with a tight smile. Some people should be grateful for whatever they receive. Rebecca, being 5 years older, could have been a source of comfort. Instead, she became another tormentor. I remember showing up to school one day wearing purple sneakers I absolutely adored. "You know, those make you look like a clown, right?" she said loudly in the hallway, making sure her friends could hear. But I guess that's fitting. I tried to laugh it off, but after that, I couldn't even look at those sneakers without feeling ashamed. It was just one of countless small cruelties that built up over the years. Middle school was particularly brutal. Rebecca started spreading rumors about me being adopted, which wasn't technically untrue given my circumstances, but it wasn't the whole story either. "Well, you kind of are adopted, right?" she'd say with a shrug when I confronted her. "I mean, it's not like you're really part of the family." I tried so hard to bond with her. "Hey, wanna watch a movie together?" I'd ask, hope still stubbornly alive despite years of rejection. "I'm busy," she'd reply, not even looking up from her phone. "Why don't you ask your real mom for company?" Oh wait, the barb would hit its mark, as it always did. Each attempt at connection was met with another reminder that I wasn't welcome, wasn't wanted, wasn't enough. Even during serious moments, they couldn't set aside their pettiness. When my dad had a health scare and was rushed to the hospital, I showed up to be with him, only to be met with more hostility. "What are you doing here?" Ashley demanded as soon as I walked into the waiting room. "He's my father too," I said quietly. "Why don't you just go back?" "We've got this," Rebecca snapped, while Ashley muttered under her breath about how I shouldn't even be there. "And my father?" "He was a master of avoidance. I know it's hard," he'd say whenever I tried to talk to him about it. "But try to get along." "Dad?" "They treat me like I'm nothing," I'd plead. "Like I'm some kind of mistake." "Everyone's trying their best," he'd respond, already turning away. "Just give it time." That was his solution to everything, just try to get along. As if I hadn't been trying my entire life. His passive acceptance of their treatment hurt almost as much as their active cruelty. Things changed, or at least I thought they did, when Rebecca brought her fiancé, Roger, home. He was different, the first person in that house who treated me like a normal human being. We talked about movies, music, travel, actual conversations without the undercurrent of resentment I'd grown so accustomed to. "I love your taste in films," he said during one of our first conversations. Have you seen any good ones lately? It was such a simple question, but it nearly brought me to tears. No one in that house had ever asked my opinion on anything before. So when Rebecca asked me to be one of her bridesmaids, I dared to hope. Maybe this was our chance to heal old wounds. Maybe things could be different. Of course, I said, pushing down my instinct to refuse. I'd love to. What followed was a masterclass in passive-aggressive exclusion. I was in the bridesmaids group chat, but might as well have been invisible. Messages about dress fittings and bachelorette party plans flew back and forth, but whenever I tried to participate, I was ignored or dismissed. Hey, when are we going dress shopping? I messaged one day. Oh, don't worry about it. I've got it handled, Rebecca replied hours later. Besides, you probably couldn't afford the ones we're looking at anyway. I threw myself into helping with the wedding prep instead. I addressed invitations, helped with the gift registry, ran errands, anything to prove I could be useful, that I deserved to be included. Then came the bombshell. You can't come to the wedding, Rebecca announced one day, her voice matter-of-fact. Having someone like you, a product of an affair, would bring bad luck to my marriage. I stared at her, speechless for a moment before anger took over. Are you kidding me? After everything, after making me help with all the wedding prep, this is what you do. It's my wedding, she said with a shrug. I need everything to be perfect. And perfect doesn't include reminders of Dad's mistakes. Perfect. That word had been used as a weapon against me my entire life. I was the imperfect child, the mistake, the blemish on their perfect family picture. You're unbelievable, I spat, years of hurt finally boiling over. You've spent your entire life making me feel like garbage. And now this? What did I ever do to you except exist? Don't be dramatic, she rolled her eyes. This isn't about you. It's about my special day. But the story wasn't over. On Rebecca's wedding day, Roger did something unexpected. During his wedding speech, he called out the family's treatment of me. All of it, the years of exclusion, the casual cruelty, the constant reminders that I didn't belong. I've watched how this family treats their daughter, he said, his voice steady despite the growing tension in the room. I've seen the subtle jabs, the exclusion, the way she's made to feel less than because of circumstances beyond her control, and I can't stay silent anymore. The room went dead quiet as he continued. She deserves better, he declared to the stunned audience. She deserves to be treated like family, not like a mistake. And I'm ashamed to be joining a family that can treat one of their own with such calculated cruelty. The fallout was immediate. My phone exploded with notifications. First a screaming call from Rebecca, then a flood of messages from family members. How dare you ruin my wedding? Rebecca shrieked when I answered her call. This is all your fault. I wasn't even there, I reminded her. You made sure of that. The messages from family members were mixed. Some were furious, demanding to know how I could allow Roger to ruin Rebecca's special day. Others were surprisingly supportive, admitting they'd seen the mistreatment but had never spoken up. Then my father called, his voice tight with anxiety. You need to fix this. Fix what? I asked. I didn't do anything. Tell Roger he was wrong, he pleaded. Tell him things aren't as bad as he made them seem. Rebecca's marriage is at stake. No, I told him firmly. I'm not going to lie about how I've been treated. Not anymore. But this is your sister's happiness we're talking about. Maybe she should have thought about that before treating me like a curse, I replied. Besides, when has anyone in this family ever cared about my happiness? The pressure continued. Messages poured in from family members, all trying to get me to fix things. Rebecca sent long, dramatic texts about how I was ruining her life, but I stood my ground. He looked tired when I arrived, the weight of everything clearly taking its toll. I'm sorry about the speech, he said, stirring his coffee absently. I couldn't stand by and watch them treat you like that anymore. You don't need to apologize, I assured him. You're the only one who's ever stood up for me. He revealed that he and Rebecca were separated. The wedding drama had been the final straw, exposing deeper issues in their relationship. He'd tried to talk to her about her treatment of me, but she'd dismissed his concerns. I always knew she could be mean, he admitted, but I never thought she would treat her own sister like this. When I found out she'd uninvited you, I just couldn't look at her the same way anymore. Some family members tried to blame me for their separation, but Roger made it clear. This was about who Rebecca was as a person, not about me. You deserve better than what they did to you, he told me before we parted ways. Never let anyone make you feel like a mistake again. In the months that followed, things slowly settled into a new normal. Rebecca and Roger's separation became permanent. She never apologized. Instead, she spread rumors that I had somehow manipulated Roger into leaving her. Classic Rebecca, always making herself the victim. My father still occasionally tries to guilt me into smoothing things over, but I've learned to stand firm. Ashley continues to treat me with cold disdain, but now it affects me less. I've finally accepted that I can't change how they see me, but I can change how I see myself. Looking back now, I realize that sometimes the family you're born into isn't the family you deserve. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it's better than living a lie. I may have lost a sister, but I gained something more valuable: self-respect. Roger and I still keep in touch, checking in on each other occasionally. He's doing better now, seeing a therapist and working through his own issues. As for me, I'm finally at peace with who I am and where I came from. I'm done trying to belong in a family that never wanted me. I'm done apologizing for existing. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away and build your own definition of family, one based on respect, acceptance, and love, not blood ties and obligation. That's what I'm doing now, one day at a time. And for the first time in my life, I feel truly free.